Check, check. I might be able to get that. Moving pretty slow. Ooh, that one's moving slower. It was farther away. I'm trying to keep up on Slack and Twitch and all that stuff. For anybody viewers out there, I'm going to try to do a Minmus launch right now. I'm going to stage our Minmus habitation module at the runway. Wanted to kind of hopefully pick up a few more viewers before we started liftoff, but we'll get everything prepped and ready. I'm not going to send anybody up this one. We're going to leave this one empty. All right. Looks like our streams are about 10 seconds behind. I enabled the beta that they're doing for a less lag to your streamers. It's supposed to enable more interaction with the chat room. Alright, I think I'm going to get this thing started. Welcome to my stream. Just sending a habitation module to Minmus. What we've got here is a rather large rocket. This is using the Mammoth as the main stage. We're using main sails for my first couple stages here. Stage 1, asparagus staging into stage 2, and then you have stage 3 there. But then I have another stage here, which will get me the rest of the way out to Minmus if needed. A little overkill here on fuel. Definitely, we have way more fuel than we need for this trip, but that's okay. It's all free because this is science mode. 3 different modes in Kerbal if you've ever played before. Career, science, and sandbox. No, we're in sandbox mode. My fault. Sandbox mode basically makes it so you don't have to accrue science and everything's free. So really great stuff. But yeah, this is my ship. Habitation module is inside the fairing there, and we'll go ahead and get this thing started. Everything looks okay. We bring our throttle up to 100%. Turning on our SAS. I'm going to save my RCS for another 10-15 minutes down the road. Nah, not that long. 30 seconds actually, now I think about it. And I think we're ready to go. Let's do this. Alright, successful liftoff. We're going to tilt over to the west about 3 to 5 degrees. You can see that right down here. I've made my move. I'm going to hold this position until I get about to 160 meters per second, 150. Once I hit 150, I'm using the easy mode here. This is MechJeb. He is a mod add-on for the game. Do not learn to use him until you've been playing this game for a very long time, is my disclaimer. It takes the fun out of it. But once you've kind of gotten through just doing the same thing over and over again, highly recommend MechJeb. What MechJeb's going to allow you to do is basically automate everything that you've come to do second nature, just doing it over and over and over again. For instance, this is my ascent guidance. I'm going to put this ship into a 100-kilometer orbit. I'm going to prevent overheats, terminal velocity, and I'm going to limit my acceleration. You won't see anything go into effect. If it's green, it's gone into effect. So right now we're limiting, and there goes our first stage. Just ignore the explosion. We're limiting our angle of attack right now to 2 degrees. You see we've got a little wobble going on up here at the top of this thing. Limiting this angle of attack helps that a lot. So what you saw there when I separated those last stages, I need to move these little boosters down a little bit. You can see I got some little boosters in here. If I move those down, it'll kind of spread out the inertia from the ejection. And what happens is these things are ejecting. It's kicking these engines underneath this stream of flame, and it's causing them to explode. You'll see it again when this next one separates, more than likely. I have some better working models where I have moved these. I just haven't updated this template yet. It really doesn't harm anything, but it is kind of annoying to see an explosion go off when you're trying to do things. We're up above 20,000 meters, so I'm going to switch this over to about 3 degrees, our angle of attack. You can see I got a couple HUDs here. This one shows our apoapsis height. Right now we're at 47,000. This HUD is all part of the flight engineer program that you see here. Looking good. We're at 60,000 meters roughly. We're going for 100. You can see our acceleration limitations kicked in, and it just shut off. And another explosion from it hitting that stream. Good times. We love explosions in KSP. And as you see, we're starting to dip the nose down. We're really setting in to our gravity turn here. I'm going to turn off corrective steering because I do not want it to put the nose below the horizon, which corrective steering will do for you for a while. You can see it leveling out a little bit there. Alright, and we're just going to burn until our apoapsis is 100. Alright, looking good, almost to that 100,000 meters. Better crack a cold beer in celebration. Kato and Chorizo, I see you guys in the channel. Thanks for joining us, joining me. Alright, so we're at set into, we have our apoapsis set at 100,000 meters. Now we need to burn to circularize our orbit. MacJeb's going to do that for me. He already pointed us toward the direction we need to go in. Looks like we're leading about 420 meters per second till we get our periapsis up to 100,000 meters also. Let's turn on auto warp, speed this thing up a little bit. Right, coming up on it, and there we go. Really nice orbit there, looking at 99, 99, 199, beautiful, let's cut it there. Yep, very nice circular orbit. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to set our target for Minmus. So we know we're going to Minmus. Wow, that thing almost hit Earth. That was an asteroid that gave us a nice little flyby there. Came with inside the orbit of the moon. I should have caught it and blown it up, but it snuck by me before I realized it was that close. So anyways, set target for Minmus. Now that we've done that, first thing you need to do is once you have your target set, is you need to change the plane of your flight, the plane of your orbit to match the plane of Minmus. So see how Minmus is kind of angled down to the right here a little bit. Really interesting orbit. Our orbit is very much flat. As you can see, you can put that in the background, really see it there. We have a nice straight orbit here. What I need to do is I need to change our orbit to match the plane of this orbit. So there's a couple ways to do that. As you can see, I'm here. That's me. It's our habitation module. We're moving towards the ascending node. Excuse me, beer burp. What we need to do is at the ascending node, we are going to change our plane. In order to do that, we're going to add a maneuver. And then we're going to grab on here. I can't remember what this term is. Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But we're going to grab this thingy. We're going to slide that over so that roughly it matches the green line in the background. So that's pretty close, huh? Alright, so what we're looking at there, let's see how close we are. 229.3 meters per second. I'm going to have MacJeb plan that maneuver for me instead. I'm betting he's going to be a little bit more speed than that. Let's cancel that, 229 meters per second. Remember that. Match planes with target at next ascending node. That's what we picked, right? Yeah, that's our ascending node. And create it. 293. I was close. It's within 10 meters per second. Not bad. Let's execute that node. Looks like we picked up a few more viewers, so thanks guys for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to fire them away in the chat there on Twitch. What we're doing right now is the ship is getting in position for our next maneuver. We're aiming right there where you see where that blue icon is. You can see I can speed this up a little bit by increasing or turning on my RCS. You'll see RCS thrusters kick on when you do that. There's one thrust up there. And then if I really want to get crazy, we turn on use RCS for rotation. And once that lines up, you're going to see us going to time warp there. Yep, and there we go. Alright, we're coming up on our node now. Again, this is our changing our plane to match the plane of the Minmus orbit. That way when we go to approach Minmus, we'll be on the same plane and we'll grab orbit really easily. Yeah, I could do the plane change at higher altitude. I just do 100 kilometer orbits. I mean, you're burning fuel to get into a higher orbit, or you're burning fuel to do your plane change. And like I said at the beginning, if you guys weren't here, I get kind of sloppy and I just added a bunch of extra fuel. You're going to see that we have way more fuel than we need to get to Minmus. Alright, plane change is finished. So let's go ahead and head out to Minmus. I like to shoot my orbit so I come up short of Minmus. That allows me to catch orbit on the inside. That works best for my situation getting to the colony. So we are going to hop and transfer to target. Again, this is a MechJeb add-on. Create node. As you can see, it slams you right into the back of the planet, or to the moon. We do not want to do that. So let's change this maneuver a little bit before we execute it. And again, there's so many ways to play this game. I do not play it the best way by any means. There are definitely some more talented streamers out there. This is only my second stream, but I'll give you guys a quick and dirty kind of what I do in Kerbal. Alright, so see what we did here? We're just coming up on the inside of that orbit, and we're going to let the planet grab us. I'm going to execute that as is. Alright, and we're going to approach that maneuver point. If you see down here what's going on, I will switch cameras. Again, I'm using RCS. I don't have to. If I didn't want to, save fuel, but like I said, heavy on fuel. So you can see that RCS burning here and here. Boom, we're aligned. Here we go, time warp. Sunrise on Kerbin. Coming up on our node in about 4 minutes Kerbal time. Alright, you'll see MechJeb does automatically time your burn. 7-second burn, so you'll see him kick it on at about 3.5 seconds. They do split the gap like that for you. And that was not a 7-second burn, it was a 35-second burn, so it kicked on at roughly 18 seconds. So. we're going to run out of fuel, I think, before we use to get to this point. So we're washing our liquid fuel over here. When that happens, I'm going to lose the fairing and I'm going to jettison the backstage there. Let's get your eyes out of the sun. Oh, look at that planet. It's beautiful. And pop, there she goes. And then we jettison. I really have no way to push myself away from this unit. We jettisoned right here. You'll see as we do that. There we go. So many pieces. I saw when 1.0 Kerbal Space Program came out, people were complaining about the new fairings. They used to just split in half and float away. Now they break into little pieces. I've just seen forum signatures that say, bring back our Kerbal. All right, let's see how close we got there. We did not make our orbit, so we need to turn our SAS. We need to point out our prograde. See, we got a close approach, but that was it. Alright, we're pointing to our prograde. Boom, there's our prograde. And we're going to accelerate ever so gently. And we overdid it. I mean, we're talking like half a meter per second. It's unbelievable. So now we got to switch back to our retrograde. I don't have RCS configured correctly on this template to actually thrust myself forward and backward. That may be a problem later, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, you can see even just spinning around is changing our projection kind of significantly. Alright. There's our retrograde. Let's just give her a little gas. Perfect. That will put us about right on the inside of Minmus. Beautiful. Alright, here we go. Let's do a little time warp to get out of here. We'll try and get away from the planet so we can really hit the time warp. You gotta be so far away before you can time warp. I have seen it really mess things up where pieces of spaceships went flying off into some crazy orbit. Alright, we're now about 1,000,000 meters above the planet, so we'll slow our time warp back down. And auto time warp to say, let's go here, warp here. Alright, coming up on our sphere of influence with Minmus. Our time warp's complete. Let's push her all the way in. Here comes Minmus. Left your screen. So once we get into the sphere of influence of Minmus, we want to circularize our orbit around Minmus. Quick time warp, gets a little closer. Beautiful. There we are. So, what we want to do is we want to circularize our orbit here. So we're going to add a maneuver at the periapsis. Going to shrink. Oops, wrong way. Let's just hit the brakes. Bring that orbit around. There she is. So, periapsis is now at 195,000 meters. Let's bring that down to about 10. Excuse my beer burps, I'm disgusting. Alright, there's 9-7, that'll do. Execute next node. Here we go. We're real close to our point, so we won't even need RCS to get there. Welcome Eric to the stream, or Red Room, sorry. Alright, time warping 4 minutes in, 3 minutes in, 1 minute in, almost there. So my CenturyLink connection won't allow me to stream, so I'm using my work Verizon jetpack to upload data to the internet for video games. Not cool, I'm sure, but I'm the IT guy, so nobody's going to tell me no. Works a lot better than CenturyLink. I haven't seen my screen cut out once. Alright, and there we go. Periapsis is going to be right at 9 or 10,000 meters. Boom, done. Beautiful. 10-3. Alright, so now we want to speed into the other side of this thing, and we're going to drop our apoapsis down so we have a nice circular orbit about 10,000 meters off the planet. Eric, this is a solo game. There are multiplayer mods available for it. Multiplayer is somewhat interesting, and then you need to be with a small group of tight-knit friends, I would say, and you need to be on comms. Time warp is very important in this game, and it cannot be done in a multiplayer game well. You need to have everybody in a position that they're prepared for time warp. If you have good communication, I can see it working really well, but it's a little cumbersome. I tried playing on one of the main multiplayer servers, and then I logged back in the next day and all my stuff is gone. I don't know if somebody comes through and deletes it, or they reset the server, or how that works, but definitely would not want to invest a lot of time in something that just gets deleted. I would want it to be something we would host with our community internally, and we would have our normal moderators taking care of that, so we know there was some integrity involved. Oh my god, these beers are delicious. Alright. So it looks like we made it to our periapsis. We're on the other side of the planet. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit the brakes, or thrust in the opposite direction I am heading, and then that will shrink this apoapsis down so that I have a nice circular orbit above the planet. Here comes our apoapsis dropping down. We want to watch our periapsis too, make sure it doesn't get too low, because it is going down because I didn't thrust before right at the perfect spot. So I want to make sure that stays up above the horizon there so we don't go crashing into a mountain or anything. And see that thing move. And right there, 6'4". It's about as low as I like to get her. We could spool back around here and do it again, but we may just land right there. That's our landing point right there. So let's set that as a target. And once again, we want to set our change our plane so that we match our plane over the target here. I'm going to cheat and do all this with MechJeb. You guys, when you learn to play the game, can learn to do all that manually. Been there, done that. And right now we're going to move to a low orbit plane burn point. So you're going to see this thing time warp until we get up and over kind of here somewhere. I thought we'd do a plane change first. Oh no, that is a plane change, I'm sorry. If you guys haven't seen a good look at the Minmus habitation module with the fairing off, that's it. Kind of upside down right now. Hang on, let's change our camera a little bit there. There we go. What's going to happen is we're going to detach right here at this point where my mouse is, and that will allow us to land on our wheels. We have gear here. I'll drop the landing struts, land on the struts actually, then I raise the sluts, Jesus. I raise the struts and drive around on the wheels. I'm not in the business of raising sluts. I have no children. But if I did, I would probably raise a slut. I'd be a bad dad. It'd be a disaster. Alright. And I'm going to turn on my RCS here, allow my rig to have a little more control. You can see her slowing down. And what that's doing is we're just trying to put ourselves right. This is our landing site. This is where my colony is. I try to put it right off to the left of the colony here. Oh, and we're time warping into our colony. Turn time warp off here momentarily. We're coming in at a pretty steep angle. Yeah, let's come in at a real steep angle actually. Oh, don't freeze. Alright, auto warp off. And let's abort this auto landing, bring her in manually. Slowing down a little bit. You can see my speed here to the surface. We want to slow it down a lot now. Came in a little hot. We overshot our landing a little bit. That's alright. We're good. Oh, man. Eesh. Coming in a little warm on this. Bear with me. Could see explosions. We're about 170 meters off the ground. Moving at 15 meters per second. Not ideal. Getting a little lag. This colony below me is kind of big, so a lot of physics here. Alright, we just jettisoned the big boy there. Let's push away from it a little bit. And we're slowing her down a little bit. We're real close to the ground. We're like 50 meters off the ground. A little closer than I'd like to be. Let's drop that gear. Boom! There goes our main stage, our last stage. You see pieces will roll around on the ground there. I think we're gonna have a good landing here. Everything's looking good so far. Yeah, I can turn up my volume, sorry, a little low. I'll put my face in the mic a little bit more, but I do have my volume turned down a little bit. And I'm talking quiet because my wife's sleeping in the other room. Yes, you can land too rough and damage equipment for sure. You can see I'm coming in about 2.7 meters per second. And we're like 10 meters off the ground. And accelerate up a little bit more because we're going to jettison the crane you see on top of this craft. Gone, there she goes. And there goes my crane that I've built. I love that thing. It looks so cool watching it take off away from the craft after you landed. I mean, NASA did it in real life, but I can do it in Kerbal. Alright, so now we're on the ground. There goes our crane. Let's hit the brakes because our wheels are still moving. And let's lift the gear. So all our pieces of our craft scattered all over the ground. There's probably still some fuel in that. Alright, we don't really need fuel. We have an entire refining array. Oh, look over here at my Minmus colony. So many hours of work, so many spaceships launched to build this thing. Alright, we're going to disable the motors on our front and back wheels. What this does is when you accelerate or decelerate, it does not cause your ship to tip, which can kind of be a big problem. I will also turn off all my gyroscopes and inertia wheels up here. Toggle torque disabled. And that'll just keep you a little more stable, a little more upright. This rover that's on the bottom here is kind of flimsy and not really built for really tall craft to move them around, but at high speeds. But we're not going to go fast, so. Got to take off the brake before you go anywhere. All right, so what you can see over here with my colony setup is we have a refining, or we have a drilling array with 3 drills on it. That drilling array was landed here on its own. It is independent. It can operate independently. It's got a docking ports on it. It can connect to the rest of the colony. Once it's connected to the rest of the colony, it can shuffle ore to the refining array. There's a refining array here that will convert ore into different types of fuel. You have liquid fuel and monopropellant, and then you have oxidizer for your liquid fuel. So you can use it in the rocket engines. That machine will do all 3 of those conversions. It's actually got 4 settings. One does both at the same time, liquid and oxygen. The other one does just liquid. The other one does just oxygen, and the other one does just monopropellant. So essentially, this whole entire setup out here is self-sustaining. We can make fuel out here. We can send craft deeper into space. What I'm doing out here mostly is I'm making the fuel here, and then I have a space station that orbits right here. Minmus Fuel Labs. Minmus Fuel Labs orbits Minmus, and I make the fuel on the surface, and I haul the fuel and fuel barge I built up to the fuel lab. That way I can just swing ships by. They don't have to land on Minmus. They can just stop, top off their fuel, and head out to Duna or wherever they're going. Right now this is the 5th habitation module. So currently we can house over 20 Kerbins out here on Minmus. I think it's 4 per hitchhiker module plus 1 on top, so 5 each. So yeah, I can do 25 Kerbins out here. What we're going to do is we're going to pull up and we're going to dock right here onto this connecting point here. What you can see here is just a this is the mining rig I was telling you about. This is the refining rig I was telling you about. And these are the habitation modules. I use this setup to transport fuel and Kerbins from machine to machine. Everything hooks up inside here. No Kerbins required to operate the refining array or the drilling array. Those are all done with whatever you want to call it, probes or whatnot. This whole operation can operate without any Kerbins locally. There is probes attached here, so everything's got a probe on it pretty much, and the whole setup can be run without a Kerbin here. Alright, we're going to slow down a little bit. We're moving about 1.7 meters per second. We're going to start our turn. So that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the launch, all the way from launch to docking. Doesn't take too long. I'm not sure how long our stream's been running here, but I'd say 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes or so, maybe a little longer. But yeah, you can, once you have these things built, you can get all these pieces up. You can save all your templates. You know, as you can see, these Minmus modules are all saved templates. We can undock these rovers on the bottom and move them out. I generally delete the rovers after I'm done with them. I leave a couple just on standby, but for the most part, I don't like having more assets on grid than I need. It definitely messes with the physics. You can see it start to chug a little bit, and I'm messing with it. I got a 6-core Xenon with a badass graphics card. I mean, it's not like we're kind of half-ass things. I'm going to run into this thing kind of hard. Oh, just got an invite to go do sushi. We did sushi last night, so can't do that again tonight. Alright, so as you can see, I'm right up on this docking port. Kind of sloppy, but this is how we're doing it. Nope, I need a better angle than that. That's not going to work. Whoops. What did we just do there? That may work actually. It's going to throw us on there. So what you see happening is there's magnets built into these docks, and then there it goes. And my dock is sideways. That's not going to work. It looks like everything moves sideways there. What the hell? Let's try that again. Not much gravity here. It's almost a problem. Alright, so I think we're far enough away from that we can realign. Something's blowing up somewhere. Could be my crane again? Parts of my crane? I don't know. That may be a little better. Cool. And we're docked. Let's see if that's straight. Definitely better. I feel like that one there is a little crooked. Let's decouple that node. All this debris. Alright, so that's that. That's how you dock it. That's how you hook one up, and that's my colony. So pretty much going to call it for the stream. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me on Twitter. I'm Twitter at Cuda Timberline, or you can send me in-game mail if you're still playing Eve. Thanks so much for checking us out, guys. Bye.